Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life, the YouTube channel that talks all things Wentworth. As usual, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this type of content, because in today's video, I am going to be giving you my review on Wentworth Season 2, Episode 4, The Danger Within, and this is a beast of an episode and I flippin' love it. Now, I'm actually narrating this video today because we've been having some technical difficulties with the green screen, but fear not, it will make a comeback at some point. Anyway, on to the episode review. So B is still in the slot for attacking Brayden, and Simone has a visit from her partner Spitz, who tells her that Vinnie Holt is looking for blood after the attack on his son Brayden, and there is currently a hit out on B Smith. Now, Joan ends up letting B out of the slot, and Simone has a go at her for what she did to Brayden, but they end up coming to like a little bit of a joint pact, and that's basically just to look out for each other. This is when Simone ends up telling B that there is a hit out on her and that it literally could be anyone. Next minute, there are 3 brand new prisoners arriving in the paddy wagon at Wentworth. We have Maxine Conway, who is an absolute favourite of mine. We also have Jess Warner, who is not a favourite of mine, far from it. And we have Kat, a woman in crutches and a mouth like a sewer. Now, as we all know, Maxine is trans from male to female, and straight away we witness the struggles that Maxine is going to go through in prison when the women make fun of her and they laugh at her, and even some of the officers are complete arseholes, and this actually includes Fletcher, who even tells Vera that he will not strip search him. Vera then has to correct Fletcher by saying that when has he ever searched a female prisoner, and goes on to tell him that she wouldn't be there if she wasn't post-op, and it just demonstrates the ignorance from certain people in the world, and you know what guys, it's a story that deserves to be told. Jess Warner, okay, well, with this one, we all know she will turn out to be one crazy bitch. But in this episode, we are led to believe that Jess is this sweet, innocent girl who wouldn't hurt anyone. She ends up having this massive crying fit when Will is trying to induct her, but when Will calls in a medic with a sedative, she quickly stops crying, like she completely turns off the waterworks, and she consoles herself way too quickly, and just as a complete, U-turn with her emotions. I can remember when I first saw this moment, I knew something wasn't quite right with this person. We do learn in this episode that Jess did have a previous conviction of killing a child, but the charge was overturned when they had apparently caught the real killer. Okay. So these 3 new inmates arrive at H Block, and B is busy trying to work out which one of them could have been sent in to kill her. And that's what most of this episode is about, and it's so thrilling, and you end up trying to guess yourself who the killer could be. I just love it. I did fall in love with Maxine straight away though, especially the scene where Fletcher orders Maxine to carry out this heavy table with machinery on top of it, and Maxine just turns around and says, "If you're addressing me, then you'll find some manners." I just absolutely freaking loved it. When this machinery is moved out of the laundry, it is later used to try and kill B. When B is downstairs, someone tries to drop this machinery down onto B's head, and it literally just misses her. This lands Fletcher in trouble with Joan once again, and this also leads on to another row between him and Will. But things get even worse for both Will and Fletcher in this episode. So when Will finds his tire on his bike slashed, he goes to the CCTV room to see if he can see who did it, but he ends up listening in on a private conversation between Fletcher and Vera, and this is when he overhears them talking about Fletcher and Meg's affair. The cat is now out of the bag. Will leaves the CCTV room and he goes looking for Fletcher, and he finds him alone in a corridor, runs up from behind and punches him in the face. Oof, I love it. I don't think there's any going back now for Fletcher and Will's friendship. Back to B now, who is still trying to work out who this possible killer could be. B ends up buying a weapon from Frankie, which is a zip gun with 1 bullet. So when B goes to take a shower, someone else is in the shower in another cubicle waiting for her. It's Kat, the woman who was in plaster and on crutches. She waits for the other women to leave, and then Kat comes charging at B with a shiv. And this big brutal fight just breaks out between them both. I mean, you got Kat slicing B in the arms, and then B kicks Kat out of the shower and grabs the zip gun, but then Kat grabs B from behind. There's biting, there's hair pulling. They end up on the ground, and B manages to point this zip gun at Kat, but Kat ends up kicking it out of B's hand. Kat then gets on top of B with the knife, and it just, it's looking like the B is about to get it, but then Kat is pulled off B and knocked out by 1 punch by Maxine. Yes, Maxine saves B, and I just love it because this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship. I just gotta say as well, I absolutely loved this fight scene. It was the biggest fight scene that we had seen in the show at the time of this episode first airing, and the amount of times I went back and rewatched this fight scene is probably just anyone's guess, probably in the hundreds. I loved it. I forgot to mention that in the last episode, Frankie did set up a deal with one of the male prisoners called Batesy, and he's basically bringing in drugs for Frankie, and Boomer is paying him in gobbies, and this goes on once again in this episode. Just another normal day at Wentworth. Anyway, back over to B, who learns from Will that this zip gun that Frankie had given her was indeed booby-trapped. Oh god, if B had managed to pull the trigger, then it would have fired backwards and it would have blinded B. Oh god, I can honestly remember my mouth dropped when I first saw this scene, and B ends up going over to confront Frankie about it, but Frankie says that she thought that B was getting it for Simone to use on her. I don't know, whatever the truth is, I am just so glad that B didn't manage to pull that trigger, because I literally think I would have cried. The episode ends with B giving Maxine a makeover as a thank you for saving her, which is really, really nice to see. And then you've got Doreen and Nash, who they end up getting some alone time in the shed, and they end up having some intense sex up against the wall. Oh god, we all know what's gonna happen next, don't we? This was honestly an incredible episode. I know I say that a lot about Wentworth episodes, but this one really, really was. We had some brilliant new faces to add into the mix. We had the hit on B storyline, we had an epic fight scene, we had the affair reveal. I mean, what's not to love? This was a full action-packed episode. My favourite part of this episode is definitely the fight scene in the shower. It was brutal. I love the music that they used. I love the fact that it was Maxine who saved B. My least favourite moment would have to be the abuse that Maxine receives from some of the women, and indeed Fletcher. When I see stuff like that on TV, it always makes me feel uncomfortable. Anyway guys, I bet some of you have got some juicy comments for me today. Let me know in the comments box below what were your first reactions to this episode, and let me know what you thought of the fight, and did you guess who the real hit woman was? Let me know guys. Right then, well, thank you all for stopping by today and watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe, and I'll be back on Friday with a Wentworth ranking video. See you all again soon guys.